Hi, my second grade friends, Mrs. Real here. I have a new story for you today, and this one is about plants. Now, I know before we went on break, I'm pretty sure all the classrooms got started on planting your plants, but you didn't get to go back and see what had happened to them. So I have several lessons over the next few weeks dealing with plants, and this one starts with a fun story. I read it to most of you last year because the two sisters who wrote this story were part of the Tucson Festival of Books last year. And so this one is a really fun story that talks about different parts of plants and a tricky rabbit. And I'm hoping that after we're done with this story, I'll have another video and we'll take a field trip out to my backyard into my garden to see what's growing out there. So right now I'm going to read to you Tops and Bottoms. And this book is fun because it doesn't open. Normally you would hold a book like this and you open it this way, but this one goes sideways. So I'm going to have to be pretty creative about how you can see this page, all the pages on my document camera. So Tops and Bottoms, adapted and illustrated by Janet Stevens. So she is one of the sisters. One of the books that the two sisters wrote last year was The Donkey Egg, and this is the same bear and rabbit from that story, but this happened first. So, Tops and Bottoms. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear, and he had given all of his wealth to his son. But all Bear wanted to do was sleep. See him sleeping there in that chair. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with a tortoise. Do you remember the hare and the tortoise story? And had sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. "The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something," Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. The glare is really bad on there. Sorry, guys. The next day, Hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. "Hello, Bear, wake up. It's your neighbor Hare, and I have an idea." Bear opened one eye and grunted. "Ugh. We can be business partners," Hare said. "All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle. Yes, sir. Bear, we're in this together. I'll work and you sleep." "Huh?" said Bear. "So what will it be, Bear?" asked Hare. "The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you, tops or bottoms." Let's see," Bear said with a yawn. "I'll take the top half, Hare. Right, tops." Hare smiled. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the tops and I get the bottoms." There's all the tops for Bear. There's all the bottoms for the rabbits. Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked off all the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear, and put the bottoms aside for himself. Bear stared at his pile. "But Hare, all the best parts are in your half. You chose the tops, Bear, Hare said. Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season, I want the bottoms. Hare agreed. It's a done deal, Bear. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the bottoms, and I get the tops." Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce, the broccoli, and the celery. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the tops in his own pile. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you have cheated me again." "But Bear," Hare said, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled. "You plant this field again, Hare. You've tricked me twice, and you owe me one season of both tops and bottoms." "You're right, poor old Bear," sighed Hare. "It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time. It's a done deal, Bear." So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! This time you get the tops and the bottoms." There in front of Bear's house lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every corn stalk. Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. "See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear, it's a done deal." Do you think Bear's going to be happy with us? By now, Bear was wide awake. "That's it, Hare," he hollered. "From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and middles." Hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare bought back his land with the profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. The end. So do you think Bear learned his lesson? I think he did, finally. It took him a while. So he has to do a little bit of the work to get a lot of the reward. So from the different plants that we can grow, of the ones that we eat, there are some things that we eat the tops of, there are some things that we eat the underneath the ground parts, and there are some things that we eat in the middle. And for some plants, we can use all kinds of different parts of them for other things. So we're going to take a trip out to my garden in the next video. So after you watch this one, look for part 2. I will see you outside.